People are strange. I heard that in a song once. And when you're strange, faces come out of the rain. It's true, I think. People are strange. But faces don't just come from the rain. Faces come from the same place that voices do. I just wonder where his voice came from. His name was Elliot Goldberg, a victim of cardiac arrest brought on by an acute allergy. The only suspect, a kiss, dried up on his lips like the remains of the perfect meal, and every bit of it as deadly as a rattlesnake. He wrote it in crimson when there were no witnesses to stop him. His body was found the next day by his then inconsolable girlfriend. There were no fingerprints or tracks preserved that were out of the ordinary. There was only that kiss, so perfectly ironic, and that phrase, "People are strange," written above him in blood, his own, like a last curiosity. The coroner determined that the cause of death was in fact the allergy, not the cuts from which he wrote these words. An EpiPen was found untouched on the kitchen table not 10 feet from where his body lay, which means that Elliot knew that he was dying and chose to do nothing about it. He had a beautiful girlfriend and was financially stable, leaving no prior signs of unrest or concern. Leaving me with the itching curiosity, why? Why are people so strange? This vixen's name was Vivian Allister, and she had it bad for Elliot. It was in the evening glow of downtown where they found happiness together, walking along the avenues arm in arm, when they were approached by a faceless drifter. She says that when he spoke, it was like she had no choice but to listen, and that when he was gone, if indeed he was a man, it was but a faint memory. For Elliot, though, it was the equivalent of a dizzying left hook, throwing him into one hell of an existential crisis. He was then a different man, a changed man. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but a whimper. I was surprised to learn that the words spoken were not the ravings of a madman. Rather, they were the closing stanza to a poem by the late T.S. Eliot, the irony of which is not lost on me. And though he was shaken, he did not let it dissuade their hopes for that night. By foot, they made their way to Elliot's apartment, admiring the way that shadows fell from their bodies in the night light, bringing the evening to close in a crescendo of youthful heat. But that wasn't enough to break its hold on him. For the rest of that night, his sleep was broken by irreverent and cryptic murmurs until he woke in a cold silence, and Vivian finally fell into a deep sleep. She has no memory of the things that followed. To her mind, that was the end of it. The following morning, she awoke in her bed, in her home, with the sun glaring through the blinds, and the taste of something sour on her tongue. I was also surprised to find that I believed and continue to believe in her story, regardless of the fact that she is our number one suspect. You see, the night he died, Elliot went on about desire and a bridge with the very namesake. He cried out to a room made of white that held something from him. "People are strange," he wrote. I can almost hear it. The Allister girl had told me that it was all his idea, and I didn't understand what she meant by it. That statement can be understood in many ways, none of which were particularly comforting. Then I found it, his idea. It was waiting for me to find it, so blatantly obvious. People are strange. And when you're strange, faces come out of the rain, telling us truths that we need to know, conveying information that's around us and within us. There was never a drifter. What Vivian saw was not what Elliot saw, and by that logic, the words of T.S. Eliot are the words of the Doors. Since his death, I've wondered to myself, how could it be that two people shared the same experience and came away with individual results? Because Elliot didn't hear the Doors. I did. Elliot was my drifter, giving to me truth that I needed in the way that I would hear them. So I followed that desire to hear this truth to this very room. This white room, where I could see the things that he saw and the things that he left behind. A place between space and time and love and hate and fear and tranquility, where all that matters is what I choose to do with this revelation that my life is limited as is the view of the world around me. But it doesn't have to be.